So, Mir, Street Fighter V is officially dead. How's that make you feel?
How does that make me feel? Oh boy. I can only hope for an untimely resurrection.
Yes. And
That's what I'm
speaking of
gonna say.
resurrection, Street Fighter V is a different type of beast. Like I said before, Street Fighter V is a phoenix and will rise from the ashes once again. When? At EVO, of course. If you guys haven't been keeping up with the news and such, we've been getting plenty of confirmed posts from Ono saying, hey, we've been working our asses off. We hope not to disappoint, yada 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 on Twitter. And the news is coming at EVO. We don't know if the update's coming, but we know the news is coming, and it's apparently something big because it's been building up all the way to this point. However, Street Fighter V is dead right now. So, I mean, the EVO numbers are good. They just posted it recently. It's almost 2,000 players have entered, and that's pretty good for a 3-year-old game. It is lower than last year, though, but nonetheless, it's there. But I was thinking, Mir, that maybe we should do some discussion videos, kind of keep the conversation going. And I know a lot of people have been looking for content on the channel. And, you know, you guys can still have some discussions with us all the way up until EVO, and we'll talk about various topics on Street Fighter V. Some wishlist stuff, and basically about all the rumors we've been hearing up to this point, things that are likely going to be added to the game if the update is as big as we hope for. And so let's get the ball rolling here. The first thing we're going to talk about for today's topic is the new mechanics being added to the game. I think this is the only reason why this update would be so delayed and so large is because they're overhauling the game in a way that's gonna be really tough for them to tweak and balance without taking the extra time to do so. Unless they took all the team and they're working on Street Fighter 6, and I don't know, they're just giving up on Street Fighter 5. I don't know, but with all the rumors and stuff, we'll talk about the most likely things they'll be adding and the effect they'll have on the game. So
Yeah, it'll be interesting, especially because if the update actually happens right after EVO, will be right in the middle of the CPT, the whole Capcom Pro Tour. So it'll be interesting in that sense because it will change the meta of the game right in the middle of the competitive season.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think they were planning it to have it EVO all this time. I think it was kind of like, man, we're getting really close to EVO. We might as well just wait till EVO at this point. But Ono said they're crunching. They said that they're getting stressed, basically. So it means that whatever they're going to announce is most likely going to happen very soon after the announcement, right? It's not gonna be like, hey, here's this big update. It's coming out in October at Capcom Cup. Doesn't really seem like that. It seems like a huge presentation. So, anyways. First mechanic we're going to talk about is most likely they're going to add a second V skill to the game. We've been seeing a lot of data mining. We've seen a lot of rumors on that, and it is something that it's realistic that they would add to the game, right? So how do you think a second V skill will affect the game? Will it affect the game in a positive way? Will it be something that actually is meaningful to you? Do you think it'd be something that's worth it for them to do?
I think it really depends on how it's going to be implemented, in the sense that if they make it a choice, kind of like how you can choose between V-Trigger 1 and V-Trigger 2, then you'll have to, you'll probably find some combinations, if you will, of V-Skill and V-Triggers that are going to be more effective than the others. Like, for example, I'm just going to say something at random. V-Trigger 1 and V-Skill 2 are the best combination for this character, and then you know, if you want to use the other V trigger, you better use the other V skill.
Right.
Or they could have it so that V skill is like both V skills are available at the same time, as in it's just another move in your move list, right? Maybe one is, I don't know, left end V skill, the other one's right end V skill, whatever. Which seems less probable, especially when there are some characters that already have like 20 billion inputs for their V skill because they have a lot of options out of them.
Exactly. It doesn't seem intuitive at this point, being active to the game.
So that sounds like less probable, but I mean, it could still happen. We don't know.
Right. So with what you said about them having, you know, you can kind of customize your V trigger and your V skill, I think Capcom was most likely, and this is what I would prefer actually, is to tie the V skills to the V triggers. So in order to use V skill 2, you must use V trigger 2. And I think this is a good idea because there's a lot of garbage V triggers in the game, right? A lot of terrible V trigger 2s and some terrible V trigger 1s. And I think this is one way to kind of convince a player to use these terrible V triggers because the V skill might be very, very powerful, right? Let's take Jerry for example, okay? Her V trigger 2 is beyond useless, but maybe her V skill 2 is something really good, like a dive kick or something, right? And be like, man, it'd be worth it if I could have this extra utility of this V skill, and then kind of figure out a way to make the V trigger 2 work with it, right? It's kind of like the downside. I think that'd be one idea, you know. There are some characters with 2 good V triggers though, and that's I guess that's a problem, right? So they wouldn't really have to suffer from that as long as Capcom doesn't really rebalance these V triggers properly, because there's definitely some dominant ones. Yeah. But I think that's one idea. In terms of V skills though, Mir, I think Capcom should use this opportunity for, if they do add second V skills, to help with some of the big weaknesses that some of these characters have in this game, like big time. I guess a quick example would be, like, I'm just moving my mic further away from me because I'm noticing it's blasting it right now. One example would be like Ed. Like, one thing that would really help this character would be like an overhead. You know what I mean? So I mean, if he had like an overhead second V skill, that'd be really, really sick, and it would really help the character out a lot on his mix-up, or however Capcom intend that character to play or win with, for example. Or let's take Cody for example. His hugest weakness right now, he's one reason why he's one of the worst characters in the game, because he's just has terrible anti-zoning tools, and if he had a second V skill that somehow got him around the fireball, such as a dodge step, right? That's another example. I mean, I guess Zangief is another easy example with the what's it called, Green Hand, right? Yeah. What do you think?
Well, again, if you want to implement V skills that cover the character's current bad matchups, then it would be a little bit more difficult to tie them to a V trigger, because the V trigger choice is also important in those specific matchups, exactly because the character has issues getting around.
Yeah.
The problems in the matchup. So, in that sense, I mean, it would be nice, but it would be harder to balance, I feel. I'm not sure how to approach this, because another idea that I was, something I was thinking about, is that there's been a lot of rumors about this mechanic where you could spend only a single bar of V gauge to do something extra with your V skill, right? And that could be something that they could implement in this system, as in that's the new V skill. You get like an EX V skill of sorts.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
And that could be, for certain characters, it could give that anti-zoning tool or whatever they need for the matchup in particular, without having to change, the entire V system, or at least part of their V system.
Right.
So, I mean, it's really hard to foresee how that would change the game, especially because we're just theorizing right now. But
I mean, we have seen data mine on actual V skill selection, though, so it's most likely that's what Capcom's aiming for. And like I said, it's a good opportunity to add some. It's kind of like adding new special moves to each character. So at the end of the day, I mean, besides balance, besides all that, we want characters to feel fresh again, and we want they want players to re-explore the game and be like, hey, maybe I'll check out my character again. Maybe I'll jump back in if it's really this different, and kind of turn the tier list on its head. That'd be very, very interesting. I think that's the most important thing right now. I badly want to say just like, screw balance right now. Screw balance. The game is 3 years old. Let's go wild. Let's get wild. But I mean, they do have to pay attention to balance because the CPT is so important. Okay. Next mechanic that we've been hearing a lot of information on is a second V reversal. Well, not a second V reversal, but more specifically, access to 2 V reversals at once.
Yeah, I feel like that would be an interesting addition, because a lot of characters would benefit in certain situations, especially from the other kind of V reversal that they don't have. Like, for example, a lot of characters have a movement V reversal. Well, some characters have a movement V reversal, but they would really like to have a strike V reversal.
Yeah.
In some situations, and vice versa, right?
Right.
And that would help with against certain characters, pressure that could be very oppressive, especially in the corner. So having something that can get you away from the corner could help with some characters that are very powerful in the rush down side of things, so it could make those matchups more bearable. I mean, there's a lot of complaints about, especially certain 3 characters that are sitting at the top of the tier list.
Yeah.
That are very powerful on rushdown. So having more defensive options in the sense of having more versatile choices at the same time, without having to choose before the match, can help a lot, because you basically just have more options, right? Like, and you have to you have more ways of getting away from the opponent's pressure. So that would definitely be an interesting addition, especially because there's a lot of people complaining about how weak the defense is in Street Fighter 5, right?
So in case you guys haven't been following along, like with the rumors, the rumor is that so everyone's got either a 3-punch or 3-kick V reversal. They're gonna add the other one to every character. So like if your character has a 3-punch V reversal, they'll also have a 3-kick now. And if you have a strike, then you'll get a dodge as well, and vice versa. Kind of like Vega almost. And this will help out a lot of the low tiers. But the problem with this is kind of like how you would argue when when someone says to you, "Hey man, third strike's really balanced because even the low tiers have parry. So if you're really good at parrying, then your character can overcome these really tough matchups." Well, that's not in reality. That's not really how it works. The problem is that the top tier characters also have access to these very powerful mechanics. And if you give a character like Rashid a strike V reversal, and he has your ass in the corner, and he uses that V reversal in the corner, the character's gonna be already more absurd than he already is. I think it would help out some of these characters, like I said, in the lower tier, but also give these very powerful characters that Capcom's already having problems balancing even crazier. So
unless they shoot him in the legs.
Unless they shoot him in the legs beforehand, right? But that's just the problem with giving these extra defensive mechanics that can also be used offensively, especially the strike knockdown V reversals are extra scary, and they have to be extra careful with which characters get these. I mean, there's a reason why Rashid had the dodge V reversal, Some of the characters don't really agree with which ones they got, but some of them make sense, right? Like Ken's makes sense. Chun-Li's, she should have got a knockdown, but whatever. Anyways, next mechanic. This is another likely thing that they'll probably be adding to the game if they're going to choose one of these. Is probably a second super. I personally don't like the idea of a second super mirror. I think this doesn't add much to the game compared to like a second V skill. I think the way to design this game from the ground up, it kind of seems like every super is very, very easy to combo into for every character, and if they want to land it, they can. I think adding a second one's not really gonna help, especially for characters that are very meter dependent, like Ryu, for example. Character just burns through bar like crazy, like butter.
Well, I was just about to say, maybe they could give Ryu a super that actually combos from DPs when he does them as an anti-air.
Oh, yeah?
That would help.
Okay, but then...
again, it all depends if it's something that you have to choose before the match, or that you just have access to.
Okay.
Because if you have 2 supers at the same time, then you could argue that it might make sense to save meter in a certain matchup, because maybe one of your additional supers is just really good and it helps in certain situations. You could even make it so that only one super has invincibility frames on startup, and the other one is just for something else.
Combo filler?
What if they tied maybe not combos, but it could be, I don't know, it could be a reversal super, right? Like a parry. As a parry super. It could be hopefully post flash, otherwise, pre flash, otherwise it's gonna be worthless. But it could be all kinds of things. So it could be a utility super in a sense, and you have your the super that you already had until now, that is your damage super. So that could be an interesting way of adding more options for characters, especially, and it could be especially useful for characters that can build a lot of meter, which again you could argue is a trait of the characters that are already good, so they become even better. And the weak characters would.
It's always gonna be the case, man. When you add new mechanics, it's always gonna be the case. They have to definitely think about that. Like I said, a lot of the supers in this game are already very, very versatile and very easy to combo into. Like, characters that will get certain supers will be like, it'll be weird things like, like, does this character have an air super or an anti-air super? It'd be very, they'd have to make it very, very specific, and I guess the only way it would work, Mirror, is like you said, they'd have to choose it before the match, not having access to both of them, especially with input overlapping issues that we might even run into if they had 2 supers at once. But it'd be cool if they kind of tied the supers together. Like, once again, like if you're choosing the second V skill, you're tied with V Trigger 2 and you're tied with the second super. I think that'd be interesting, but I don't see that likely happening. I don't think they're adding that much stuff to the game all at once. That'd be pretty crazy, though. But I've always liked the variation system from MKX or Groove system or the ISM system, and that'd be something very close to that in a realistic way that they get added to Street Fighter V, retcon it into the game, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, if I had a choice, I would choose second V skill over second super any day, though. I really don't think it's worth them to do that or to balance it. Okay, the last mechanic. This one's a stretch. We've been hearing a lot of rumors on this from all directions, and we keep hearing this V cancel, V focus attack nonsense. And if it does exist, God help us if it exists, Mir. It would be a balancing nightmare.
Oh,
and it would make complete sense on why Capcom has been delaying this patch ever since to have this crazy idea of adding this mechanic to the game. It like the rumors we hear are different, but like the most, I guess the plain way it works is that you use your V gauge to cancel the animation of an attack via Roman cancel via FADC, and yeah, you can create your own custom combos using that bar rather than using your V trigger. This would be, like I said, Mir, an absolute disaster of a mechanic to add. What do you think?
I mean, it reminds me a lot of, like you said, FADC in the sense that it makes sense on paper as a combo extender. Like, I don't think it would hurt if you could balance the game around a mechanic like this, in the sense that you have a combo extender that's universal across characters that doesn't require you to activate your V trigger, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's really easy to make it a little bit too powerful, right? Like, that's exactly what happened with focus attack dash cancel in Street Fighter 4, right? You'd have DP, focus attack dash cancel, or like, you know, wake up, or like all kinds of other weird stuff. The input was super clunky too. You had to cancel the dash, the focus with a dash. So like, this could be an opportunity to make it right, and hopefully not destroy the neutral game, which already has problems. So on one side, I'd like to see it in the sense that I would like to see a good focus attack dash cancel, like a good FADC mechanic.
Okay.
On the other side, I'm worried because, like you said, it would be a balancing nightmare, first of all.
Yeah.
Second of all, it would be like, it's too easy to make it unbalanced. Basically, it's too easy to make it degenerate more than anything else. Like, that's the thing that I'm worried about. Like, I mean, hopefully there's no EXDP cancel and block in 2+ frames nonsense. But
hey man, you know what? If that brings Ryu back, I'm all for it, man. I don't care. Make the character work. I don't care at this point, man. I'm jaded. I'm jaded with these balance patches.
No, man. Otherwise, people will finally be given an actual, real excuse to dislike the game and say, "Oh, Street Fighter 6 is like."
No way. If there's 8 reuse in top 8, no one's gonna complain, Mir. No one's gonna complain.
You think?
I'm all for it, man.
What if one's Evil Ryu? I mean, Kage. I mean, Evil Ryu.
He already has FADC, man. He already has it, and it sucks. That's no damage. That's like 10 damage, dude. And then the bar is gone. It's ass. Can't even go into super. It takes meter, too. You gotta use EX. There's no ultras in this game, so you can't do your damn super. Capcom's stalling out, trust me.
Anyway, hopefully they can make it work.
Right.
But I don't think it's a thing. I mean, no, let me rephrase it. I don't think it's something we can hope for, in the sense that it's going to be balanced if it exists.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't exist, we're probably safe. But
yeah, for now.
Assuming it exists, it's going to be a mess for sure.
Right. I guess to close off this video, I'm going to assume you and me both really want a new mechanic in the game. Doesn't matter what it is, just something to freshen this game up on its probably one more year left on the life of 2020 probably. So hopefully Capcom goes out with a bang and kind of makes a season 4.5 here, or just straight to 5, kind of go out with a bang, I guess, and make it crazy. I mean, Ultra Street Fighter 4 kind of did that, kind of. But I think Street Fighter 5, they should do something more impactful for sure. At least to bring the casual audience back in. Something. Yeah. Okay, guys. We will see you guys again soon with another type of discussion here. Let us know in the comments below what new mechanic you would like to see the game, or the mechanics we talked about. Maybe add some extra insight yourself. And we will see you guys soon. Okay? Take care, guys. See you later.